We've got a grip of news to go over. We're going to discuss what we talked about earlier today briefly, the Aaron Rodgers to be cut. Higgins posted on Instagram, but we got even more news now. Now we got Stafford trade rumors regarding him and his contract, because that is a problem. But what do they do if they get rid of Stafford? I don't think they're going to, but there's a lot of rumors around that. We've got more Aaron Rodgers landing spot rumors. We've got T. Higgins landing spot rumors. We got Travis Hunter declaring as a DB for the NFL Combine. What's that mean? Are people jumping to conclusions as to the meaning behind that? I think so. I think there's still a possibility that this is, okay, he's going to play both sides of the ball. He's just not showing up to the Combine as a wide receiver. Like, if he was not playing both sides of the ball, he'd be doing his pro day wide receiver-wise. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe he does want to play D-back. None of us know. The truth is, none of us know. DK Metcalf, got news on him. Whole bunch of players. The Fantasy Football Show. Breaking news show. It's starting to brew and kick into full gear, it seems like. The NFL season is approaching. It feels like it's right around the corner now because everything's starting to kick into gear. I love March. And we're heading into March on a terror. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live!
Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Live whenever news breaks. We're live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so this right here, rumors are, this is a rumor. It's a rumor. Everything's a rumor at this point. Smoke season. Remember, there's a reason we call it smoke season. No one, including myself, is trying to say that all these things or any of them are true, but they're news that's floating around, and my job is not to come in and say, this is news that's absolutely true. My job is to say, here's the news. What do I think of it? Do I shoot it down? Do I agree with it? Do we just kick the ideas around in case it is true? That's what I do. When people say I create clickbait, oh, that's not true. He just wants clicks and views. A lot of the time, I'm only talking about big time things. And if it's out there, I need to discuss it because I need to shoot it down or Smitty approve it. If I Smitty approve it, then we know it's more likely to happen.
You've just been Smitty.
Let's see if we Smitty approve this. The Rams want the number 3 pick from the Giants for Matthew Stafford. Cowherd says the Rams don't want to restructure Stafford's deal and are getting tired of his wife constantly talking to the public. The Rams could then look to trade down from the number 3. You know, this isn't crazy. There's no truth to it. We have no way to confirm that this is true. Nor do I think we have this much information readily available coming from the Rams. I don't think this is, I think the part about his wife, that could all be fabricated, just rumor, some speculative interview somewhere where someone just took it, ran with it, and they didn't quite package up the quote right, and then another person took it, and that's the way this, Mickey Mouse game goes in the offseason, especially with all these Mickey Mouse reporters that act like they're a source, they're a news source. Well, they got their Twitter, their X, or their Instagram to 100,000 followers or 20,000. Usually it's not 100,000 page. Those have a little bit more credibility, but like a 5K or 10K Instagram team page starts acting like they've got a source. They don't have nothing. There's no source. They don't have a source. I can tell you that right now. They say they do. They say, trust me, bro. According to Trust Me, Bro. So who knows what's really true in all of this, but in this, Colin Cowherd is the one that this report's coming from. But the Rams want the number 3 pick. If we think about that logically, you're not guaranteed one of the top 2 quarterbacks. It does feel like the Titans could go Travis Hunter. They could go in a couple different directions. They don't have to go quarterback. And keep in mind, this isn't the quarterback class of last year or even a couple years ago. This does feel very, what's the way you could put it? Very, very out of necessity, you take the top 2 and you hope that one works out. And it's very possible that they do work out. One of them at least works out. I like Cam Ward a lot right now. I like Shedeur a lot. I think where they go would really determine who I like better. We got a $100 hauler from Seven. By the way, Seven's going to interrupt the show. He says, I contacted Cordboard the show after the show last night, mentioned promo code Smitty, and they gave me 10% off anyone interested in core It's actually the promo code is Smitty now. So the promo code is Smitty to get the core board. The promo code is Smitty to get the core board at 10% off. Let me change your message here because they just contacted me and they gave me code Smitty. So if anybody wants to go get the core board, what's the core board? What's the core board? Right here. This core board, I've got it right here. We've got it sitting up against the wall, and I'm gonna start doing some sets every time someone drops a $20 hauler. This $100 hauler right here not only gets you a video, 7, so let me know what video you want to sponsor here, and I have to punch out a bunch of sets right here. But yeah, the code for 10% off is code Smitty. Thanks again for the Super Bowl picks. You bet. Appreciate you, 7. 7 dropping a $100 hauler. What a monster.
$100+ hauler. Smitty, Smitty. Everybody's pretty. $100+ hauler. I don't even know why they're getting ditty, why? $100+ hauler. Oh, yeah.
So I'm gonna hook this bad boy up so that I can pump out some sets every time we get a $100 hauler. I'll either do a press, overhead press, or we could do or I could do some curls. Either way. But we're getting fit on this channel and we're doing it live. We're getting fit on this channel. We're doing it live. We're doing it live. Okay, hook this on here. Hook up this bar. This is such an amazing system. I freaking love this thing. So what you do,
Let's go! Mashed potatoes!
yeah, buddy. 1, 2. Okay, so I'll crank out some sets here in a little bit. Thank you, 7, for dropping the $100 hauler. If anybody wants the core board, I do encourage you, go get it. Check it out. These guys are amazing. I've been promoting the hell out of them because I think they deserve it. Okay, as I said, from a logical perspective, do we think that they're going to really get rid of their quarterback, walk into the unknown and the abyss of no quarterback, or are they looking at Justin Fields or something? Could, like, you go, hey Justin, you want to throw to Puka Nacua? You want Kyron Williams? You want to be on a team that's a playoff competitive team? It's a pretty good spot. Like, if I could get the number 3 overall pick, draft Ted McMillan, Travis Hunter, top 1 or 2 defensive players in this draft, whatever the case may be. You don't have to go offensive, fantasy minded, and you get Justin Fields. I think with the threat of him walking away, this would make a lot of sense if they were going after Fields or even Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold or Fields with the number 3 pick would make sense. Do I think that the number 3 pick is available for Matthew Stafford? I don't think so. Why wouldn't you just draft a guy like Ted McMillan or Ashton Genty or the top offensive lineman? Go get Banks. Go get one of the big defensive bodies in this draft class. And then you bring in Justin Fields. But they're the New York Giants. They're the New York football Giants. We don't know what they're capable of doing. This is Joe Scheinbach's, the worst GM in the National Football League. Joe, go get your Scheinbachs. I don't know if this guy knows what he's doing. And maybe he would trade for an old dog Matthew Stafford that maybe has 1 year left. So my final thought here is this is BS, because why is Stafford valued as the number 3 overall pick in this news report? That can't be. It's Joe Schein. Anything can happen, but I'm going to go ahead and call this BS.
You've just been...
But, man, would it be interesting, for sure. And real quickly, Travis sent me this right before we went live. Aaron Rodgers' next team odds, according to sports books, it's looking like the Pittsburgh Steelers are the top projected spot. Now, this ventures around, and this is driven by bettors, not necessarily the Vegas. The Vegas odds are oftentimes set by how many people are on each side of the bet. Like, people need to understand that. I see so many people that don't understand how Vegas works. They just say, oh, Vegas is saying this. Vegas thinks this. Vegas doesn't necessarily believe this. This is what the people are saying half the time. The lines move based on, now sometimes Vegas might try and they have some vested interest in some insider information and they know some stuff. But the reason Vegas is so accurate is it's the average of what's going on, and it's keeping an equal amount of people on both sides because Vegas makes their money on the VIG. They're 10% of you placing the bet across all of the bets. They don't want to get involved in picking a side and losing a boatload of money unless they've got some crazy information. So that's where a lot of this drives. But Pittsburgh Steelers, why are they there? Everybody, coming in thinking that we're wrong or off base. Pittsburgh is what we talked about for a couple days. I think they're the top spot. The Raiders seem like number 2. This Niners situation is a joke. I don't know how. This is Niner fans going to the sports book and moving this lineup because there's no way that he's going to play backup quarterback to Brock Purdy in the San Francisco 49ers. He's going to walk away before he does that. These are the 2 top spots. The Minnesota Vikings actually makes a ton of sense, but it's just that's where Brett Favre went. He would follow Brett Favre from Green Bay to New York, fails in New York, to the Vikings, fails in Minnesota. It was just a wild, I don't think he'd even want to do that even if it felt like it was the best spot, but I could be wrong on that. Aaron Rodgers to the Rams. That could be where this maybe goes. Maybe Stafford in this fairy tale world gets traded and then Aaron Rodgers ends up on the Rams. Titans, I don't think he'd play for the Titans. Giants, maybe. If they can't find another option, keep in mind, guys, I know some of you think Aaron Rodgers is done. I know some of you think they're absolutely cooked. Or that he's cooked. But teams that don't have a quarterback are going to take a gamble on him. If the New York Giants don't get Fields, they don't get Sam Darnold, they aren't able to draft one of the top guys, or they project that they won't. They can't get up into the top 2, and they got to assume the worst. Like the Raiders did not last year. The Raiders tried to, play the odds game, and they got screwed. And they didn't even go after Joe Milton, who I love a lot. I think Joe Milton should be traded for. A team should be going and getting Joe Milton from the New England Patriots. Laugh at me all you want. Aaron Rodgers could end up in a situation. The Colts is interesting, but only if they trade AR5, who I think is a little bit more of a trade piece than people think. Oh, they're not going to trade him. Maybe they will. They benched him in the middle of the year. So Aaron Rodgers odds so far, Raiders and Steelers, and that's what we said for the last couple days. So that's right on the money with what we've been cranking up and putting out. They're active quarterbacks that have 350 plus career touchdowns in the league. There are 3 of them. Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford, and Aaron Rodgers, 2 of which will be available via free agency. And Stafford may be available via trade. This is the reason I even bring this up, is to show that there are teams that when it comes crunch time and they don't have a quarterback, they're going to look to these 2 gentlemen. Even though I totally think Russell Wilson's the one that's cooked. I think Aaron Rodgers has more left than Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's mentals are not going to be in the right place. He's failing everywhere he goes. How's he going to go in and do well? Pittsburgh was the easiest opportunity he could have walked into. This is why I think Aaron Rodgers walks into that same door. That door opens, Russell Wilson walks out, Aaron Rodgers walks in, because it's a cakewalk to get to the playoffs. I'm not saying it's a cakewalk past that, but it's a cakewalk to get into the playoffs. And so, we'll see what happens. Phone lines aren't open yet, but, Coach Gump, you're sometimes a fan fave here, and you call from your break sometimes, so I wanted to give you the floor. Gump, we haven't heard from you in a while. I think some people might even forgot you existed. So, Gump, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Gump. The floor is yours. You're live.
Can you hear me?
Damn it, Gump. Yes.
How's it going out there?
Gump, what can we do for you?
I lost my freaking league because I sat Malik.
You
I got
sat
crunched.
Then the
Malik
freaking Neighbors?
Lions, that Malik Neighbors. I sat him on the bench, and that was it. And then the Lions went to the tube. And then I went to the doghouse. I was depressed.
Take a lap.
But the big question is, you know what it is?
What is it? Why you sat Malik? That's the big question.
Is, if Stafford goes to the Giants, which he probably will, do I grab Malik again? Number 1 pick.
Let me show you something, Gump. I don't know if you can see my screen, but I could describe it to you if you can't.
All right.
The Jupiter men. Jupiter is so large, every planet in the solar system could fit inside it. There are no bigger monsters than the Jupiter men.
Well, I'm on my big small screen. I can't.
Okay, on screen, Gump, let me describe it for you, okay? Malik Neighbors, the number 1 Jupiter man for 2025. He's the top.
Number 1 guy, isn't he?
He's the top bull prediction breakout player, and he is a sleeper. And before one of you start running your mouth about how he can't be a sleeper, you hear this guy Smitty? He's calling Malik Neighbors a sleeper. He can't do that. I did, and I will, and I'll continue to. And you know why, Gump? Because he's going 8, 9, 10, 11 overall. The whole world's still sleeping on him. He's a first-round sleeper. Oh, what Smitty just say? That's blasphemy. I'll say whatever the hell I want. I've been saying early round sleeper, first round sleeper, second round sleeper. All you got to do, Gump, is throw a descriptive word in front of the word sleeper, and it makes a ton of sense. And when Malik Neighbors could be the number 1 overall fantasy player, or at least the number 1 overall wide receiver, or the number 2 wide receiver, and he's going 8, 9, 10, he's being slept on, pal. And why did you bench him, Gump?
Oh, I was an idiot. I had like a freaking too many freaking peanut butter cookies with the dog and Croto ate all my burritos. He ate burritos when I went to the truck stop. And my freaking I messed up.
Why are you eating peanut butter cookies with your dog? Okay.
No, I'm making some soup. Croto ate all my freaking burritos.
I don't know what you're saying, Gump, but we love you anyway. Gump, this is why we love you. We don't know what you're saying. Hey, Gump, draft Malik Neighbors. Don't let last year's mistake make you not take Malik Neighbors. That's ridiculous.
Let me tell you something right now.
Yeah, tell me, Gump.
Stafford to the Giants.
What do you think the trade is, though?
Stafford to the Giants.
Gump, listen to the question. What is the trade? Are you trying to say that this rumor right here is correct, that the Rams are going to trade Stafford away for the number 3 overall pick? How could Stafford be worth the number 3 overall pick? I think this is an absolute cap rumor.
That ain't happening, but he's worth a second and a third.
Okay. All right, Gump. Anything else, pal? Right. What are you hauling today in the truck? What are you hauling today in the semi?
I'm the Kansas
Diapers?
City telling Chief fans, hey, I feel sorry for you. I really don't.
What are you, Gump, focus. What are you hauling in the semi truck today? Diapers? What is it?
What was that hauling? I went to medical supplies, urgent medical supplies for animals.
Okay. That's why you're eating cookies with dogs. I got you. Okay.
Yeah. But
all right.
One question.
Last thing.
Smitty,
I got to go.
This is what I want to talk about. Okay. I think the Lions should have hire whatchamacallit is the offensive coordinator. Peyton Manning is the offensive coordinator.
Okay.
Get freaking Swartz as the defensive coordinator and Barry Sanders as the running back coach.
Okay.
And Megatron is the receivers coach.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
Thank you, Gump. I think those are outstanding ideas. We'll start creating videos on each one of them. I appreciate you, Gump. Stay safe.
All right, hey.
Check that.
Happy Valentine's Day to you and your wifey and everybody else that's got a woman out there. And pray for Croto that he doesn't steal my food anymore.
Okay. Make sure you check for a gas leak wherever you're at right now. Okay. I appreciate you. Later, pal. He's out there today. That's Gump on a good day, to be honest. James Cook is looking to earn a $15 million year contract extension. What is this guy thinking? I mean, he did earn it, technically speaking, last year, but I don't know that he's going to be getting $15 million a year, especially from the Buffalo Bills. So, probably the biggest point here, takeaway, would be that there's maybe a holdout, talk going on here. I think the beginning stages of a holdout could be in full effect here with James Cook. I don't really like James Cook this year unless he falls back down to earth a little bit. If people are going to take him like in round 2, I like him a lot. I really do. I mean, we promoted the hell out of going and trading for him mid-season, and it worked out like a charm. But, there's times where even if you like a guy like Ladd McConkey, I can't take Ladd at 14 overall. Ladd's going at 14 overall a lot of the time when in a mock draft or in a best ball draft. And that's just a little too high for my liking. It doesn't mean I don't like the player. DK Metcalf, a lot of trade rumors regarding DK Metcalf. Seahawks offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak, who's going to, I believe, get to running the damn ball and getting back to using Sharps and Kenneth Walker. And maybe Kenneth Walker gets traded, maybe he doesn't. But I believe in Kubiak. I believe in the Kubiak bloodline. And Kubiak's going to try and run the damn ball. Also looking into maybe a fullback. We'll see how that all unfolds. That could be that he maybe trades one of his running backs, but it'd be Kenneth Walker. Clint Kubiak said that DK Metcalf can bring a lot to the offense next season. I agree with him. I think JSN's the number one. We put JSN on the freaking Saturn board if you missed it.
The Saturn Men.
One small step for man.
Do it
one
live.
Giant leap for Saturn.
Can I get some JSN emojis? We added the new emoji. Please add JSN emojis. Insert some Get Bucky emojis as well, and some Genty. I've got an emoji. I got an emoji for all three of these guys. I want it raining, Genty, Bucky, and JSN emojis for at least the next 30 seconds. But JSN is the monster. I still love DK. He's very underrated. He's kind of an extremely crafty wide receiver 2 in fantasy this year, and he can definitely go in around like 6 sometimes. And I've seen him go later than that. I've seen him go earlier. But I like the fact that, he's super undervalued. And any risk that you think you can state to me, like, Smitty, I don't like DK because of your saying from a weird perspective. Don't get weird. Okay, he's going around 6 or 7. He's going around late 5, which I'm more about the 6th round value. Don't get weird and start talking about how he's risky from that territory, okay? He's got so much upside from that territory. Low risk, high reward. T. Higgins, this is just from Get Up, the show Get Up. It's just a one person's take. Kimberly Martin said that I want to see T. Higgins with the Chiefs. The only reason this is news is because it was said by somebody that is on a show, and that's it. There's no real truth to this. There's no real legs to this. The Chiefs might turn over a new leaf, at least from what they've been doing the last handful of years, and scrimping and just scraping by. But keep in mind, like, this scraping by mentality has led them to Worthy. It has led them to Rashee Rice. They have built through the draft. The wide receiver arsenal is ready to be replenished with those two individuals. Worthy is cooking it on his horse, in his bag. Travis Kelce, they might want to replace him. Maybe Noah Gray steps up in a big way. We like him a lot, even though he's not a huge fantasy football prospect for us. But we're keeping an eye on Noah Gray. And Kelce still may return. And even if Kelce does decide to step away, and we've got a lot of Kelce talk here. We got a bunch of new stuff. I'll spread it all out on the screen here. Kelce has until March 14, according to reports, to let the Chiefs know whether he's stepping away. So March 14, he needs to let the Chiefs know. You have this piece of news here, this clipping here from Ari from My Sports Update, where, and this is a video actually, and Kelce goes up. I'm surprised it took a while for this to really surface, because this was kind of out there. But I owe you a lot for what you've done. They had this moment. Now, sometimes players will do this on the assumption that they're not coming back, and they do come back. And even if he retires today, that does not mean he won't change his mind when everybody's cooking in August and he's jealous and he's sitting around twiddling his thumbs. It's very easy to think you want to walk away in January, in February, in March. Why? Because this is when it's not even fun. A lot of veterans will tell you, I hate March, April, May, June, July. I love August, September, and on. And so even if he retires and says, I'm never returning again, I still don't buy it. I'm not saying I'm banking on him returning if he does retire. But if anybody thinks it's a all done matter, they're crazy. Because what he says now has nothing to do with how he's going to feel when everybody's suiting up. I can promise you, things look really nice to him. I could chill. I could do my podcast. I could travel with Taylor. And we could just travel around and I could eat food and not worry about my weight anymore. When he starts getting, and this is going to be a problem though, because he's not going to be as good a shape. He'll try and stay in shape. You know, a lot of these players that retire, they love that the camera will catch a shot of them and they look as fit, if not better than ever. And then it just makes him look like, oh, he's really moving on and excelling. So I wouldn't be surprised if he got one of Taylor's trainers and became the most fit he could ever be. But he also could let it go a little bit and then try and come back when he's not ready and then get hurt. Or maybe Taylor and him go off and he gets personal trainers and food fed to him on little toothpicks. And this guy comes back because he's tired of all that. He's twiddling his thumbs and he watches all of his boys suiting up in August. I don't buy it for a second. But the fact that he did say goodbye is very telling. Like, I owe you a lot for what you've done. This is at the end of the game. That is wild that he said those things on the field versus like, let me see how it plays out. But anyway, Higgins to the Chiefs, I don't think it's that likely. The Chiefs have Worthy and Rashee Rice, and I think they're plenty happy with that. They just need to look at some other things. This is kind of a debacle. Look, Kellen Moore went to a place I don't think is that good of a situation. I don't know what he's really thinking, man. He's got to set up really good in Philly. I know you got to take your shot. Look at Slowick. Bobby Slowick was the belle of the ball coming out of that 2023 season with C.J. Stroud, offensive coordinator in Houston. He was as popular as Ben Johnson was this offseason. He could have got a job anywhere. He decided, like Kingsbury did this year, to take another year, develop his quarterback, gain some more resume. And Bobby Slowick ended up getting fired instead of getting any job he wanted. Bobby Slowick could have walked into any head coaching job he wanted. 1 year later, he gets canned. But Bobby Slowick I still think he's really, really solid. And I love what he's going to do this year. But Slowick didn't fail, King. He didn't fail at all. You say Slowick failed. He didn't fail. He had his whole wide receiver room get injured, and he had C.J. Stroud fold like a chair. Okay, so Stroud I still like. I still think Stroud can rebound, but Stroud failed Bobby Slowick. The wide receivers got injured. Bobby Slowick had Mixon acting like a top 5 running back for a majority of the entire year into double-digit weeks. Let's not pretend that Bobby Slowick doesn't bring a lot to the table. He absolutely does. I love Bobby Slowick. Okay, anyway, Kellen Moore goes over to this very bad situation in New Orleans. It's only as bad as the quarterback spot, though. He seems to not want to write off Derek Carr. Might be just a being polite kind of thing. But if he does believe in Derek Carr, or he doesn't bring in at least the Fields or trade up to get a top 2 quarterback, or at least get Sam Darnold, all things that do at this moment in time feel out of reach for the New Orleans Saints landing spot. I don't think it's attractive to Darnold as much as it could be. Maybe he does go there. Maybe the market for Darnold is not as great after an unfolding in late 2024. But if Darnold goes there, that could be good for Kellen Moore. Maybe he is able to recover the system and situation. But if they don't get Darnold, mark my words, if they don't get Darnold, they don't get Fields, they don't get a top 2 quarterback, they don't get Aaron Rodgers, and I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers even works there, he's in trouble. He's in trouble. This is not going to work out well for Kellen Moore. Maybe he survives, floats, and then the next year they draft Arch Manning. It's possible that he weathers through 1 year, but it's not going to work out well this year anyway. Well, here's the New Orleans Saints owner and CEO. Goes on video and says, we're real excited about Ellen Moore. we're really amped up and excited and happy that what Ellen Moore brings to the table. Ellen Moore's going to be an absolute good coach. Doesn't even know his name. It's just, this is New Orleans. Unfortunately, this is the New Orleans Saints. It feels very much like the Bears organization in some ways. Like, what is going on here? We hired Ellen DeGeneres as our head coach, Ellen, very happy to have hired Ellen. Thank you, Ellen.
Mashed potatoes!
Ellen, well, yeah, buddy.
Well, we'll see you on the other side. Anyway, not a good start. Not a good look, not a good start. Not feeling the vibe there over in New Orleans. I was already worried. And when your owner calls you Ellen repeatedly, I don't know what to do. Micah Parsons told reporters there's definitely a plan in place, but we just will have to see how everything plays out regarding his contract extension. I think he wants to stay. Wants to go, doesn't control his fate anyway. But, Jerry, as much as we want to give Jerry a lot of crap, like, oh, Jerry doesn't, do this, Jerry doesn't do that, and he doesn't. A lot of Jerry's decisions depend on what side of the bed he wakes up on, or if he falls off in the middle of the night and hurts his hip. But Jerry does pay at the end of the day, right? I mean, Dak, CeeDee Lamb. I think that it's a vital, important, thing for this organization to lock down. We'll see what happens, but definitely, you get good draft capital, whatever, it could still work out. But I think the Dallas Cowboys are one of the sneakiest fantasy teams for 2025. People running away from Dak Prescott. He's going in like 11, 12, 13 round territory sometimes. Wild. That's great value. You want to wait on a quarterback, go get Dak Prescott and another quarterback like him and build your quarterback arsenal out of that amazing system. CeeDee Lamb falling to 7-8 overall. He's a sleeper. Wait, what did Smitty just say? Smitty, did you just call CeeDee Lamb and Malik Neighbors sleepers? What kind of show is this? Listen to the words coming out of my mouth. I've been doing this for 23 plus years. I've been saying the term sleeper as it relates to anything. First round sleeper, descriptive word. How do you like them apples? Second round sleeper. How do you like that? Top 5 wide receiver being slept on at the tune of 11 or 12 overall pick in Malik Neighbors. Yeah, that's sleeping. Okay, people are sleeping on him. He could double in value. He could earn exactly 12 draft slots in value from the 11 pick Malik Neighbors. People are sleeping on him. CeeDee Lamb. People are sleeping on CeeDee Lamb.
Get lambed.
Why on earth is Lamb going at number 7 or 8 overall when he could go number 1, 2, or 3 overall? Lamb, Dak, maybe they draft Genty at 12. Bed Bath & Beyond, I don't know if we'll have time. Could be a great, great little Saturday here at the Fantasy Football Show coming out of draft weekend. Max Crosby said he's expected to be out of his walking boot on February 17 and continues to recover. And at this stage, we're hearing good things that he'll be good to go for the season and for camp, but we'll see. Tank Dell, on the other hand, probably don't expect him to play a single snap in 2025 with that brutal late knee injury, but you never know. But it's not something that we're even going to entertain, explore, or count on. It's just maybe in the middle of the year we hear something and we attack it then. Derek Carr, according to Nick Underhill from New Orleans .football, reports are that the Saints head coach Kellen Moore would not make a commitment either way in regards to Derek Carr as his quarterback. This piggybacks off that other news report, so I put this one on screen because it's a separate report. And it just, everything's pointing toward not knowing what they're doing at quarterback. Kellen Moore's in a world of hurt if he does not get a quarterback for at least this year. And maybe they weather through it and they get, like I said, Arch Manning or something next year and that works out for him. But this year's going to be a rough ride if he does not get one of the quarterbacks I've mentioned. Kamara, according to Kellen Moore, he'll continue to be an important part or piece of the offense. And, we think this report says to the Saints office. Alvin Kamara will continue to be a really important piece to the Saints office. Well, that's news. I guess he's going to the front office. Breaking news here on the Fantasy Football Show. This guy might be in a desk in 2025. Travis Hunter, listed as a defensive back at the NFL Scouting Combine or on the invite list. Let me just make a point abundantly clear. He could just play D-back. I don't know. Nobody knows. The truth is nobody knows. So let me make that abundantly clear, and I'll continue to make that abundantly clear. But anybody that assumes that Travis Hunter's not playing wide receiver full-time or even remotely close, or not equal parts wide receiver, equal parts DB, just because of this, He's got to be listed as something on the combine, right? And on the combine invite list. And if he's going to pull a Marvin Harrison Jr., especially if he's doing all these things, right? Like, okay, my pro day I can take care of myself in terms of a wide receiver prospect. So I'm going to do what MHJ did. I'm going to walk away from the combine as a wide receiver. And I'm going to go dominate the DBs and put my best foot forward there. That's all that you can take from this. You cannot, people that are trying to connect dots on this meaning he's not playing wide receiver, I think you're jumping ahead of yourself and you're putting the cart before the horse and you don't know what you're talking about. This does not mean anything. It could mean everything, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything yet. And I still think Travis Hunter, if it were me, and I don't care what anybody says, you can have your opinion, I appreciate it, but this is my opinion. He should play 100% wide receiver and whatever else he wants to play percentage-wise, 50%, 100% if he wants. DB, I'm all for it. But he should be playing a 80 to 100% wide receiver and whatever he wants to play DB. And if someone thinks he can't play 100% on both sides or 90% on both sides, who said? Who said? Who makes you the determining factor? What, because other people are too lazy to try it? Because other people that have done and played the multiple position game before don't want to admit that maybe they could have did it? Maybe this guy's just built different. Maybe his body's attuned to doing this kind of thing, just like a running back that has a history of being able to take a full workload is more reliable than somebody who's never played the position. You can't throw a wide receiver in the running back position and expect him to hold up. He's been trained to hold up playing both sides of the ball. You can't tell him what to do. And if I was Travis Hunter, I'd tell every single team, you draft me, you better expect to pay me.
Motion detected at the
front I'm rolling both sides of this thing, right? I want to get paid better than a wide receiver. I want to get paid better than a D-back. I want to get paid as somebody that's contributing both sides, right? And number two, wide receivers get paid a whole lot more than DBs. Why would he not want to be a wide receiver? Like, does anybody think that when it comes time to be an NFL draft prospect for the NFL draft, I almost guarantee you he's listed as a wide receiver, or at least a wide receiver running back. Wide receiver DB. But you can bet your bottom dollar that he's being promoted as a wide receiver. Why? Because he'll get paid more. So don't kid yourself, and don't think that you know what's going on with this situation, because no one does, including me. Clyde Edwards-Helaire signed with the Saints. There's a lot of weird signings that can happen with certain players and veterans and people that are free agents at a certain point. Aaron Rodgers is not released, but Aaron Rodgers has been informed by the Jets that they will cut him. And in those situations, and I've got that report right here, this is a report, we have informed Aaron Rodgers that we will be moving on from him. And this piece of news all by itself, just the fact that the Jets have informed him that they are moving on, it allows, I think I have the report right here. Aaron Rodgers says he'll be forever grateful. But here's a report that's really important from Adam Schefter that says, to clarify what's next for Aaron Rodgers, per the NFL rules, if a club announces that they're terminating a vested veteran, other clubs are able to talk to him. No tryout, no signing is permitted. Rodgers won't officially be released until the league year as a post June 1 designated cut. But talks can happen. There's no tampering here. So teams are going to be able to reach out to Rodgers. Rodgers can talk to the mother freaking Pittsburgh Steelers or Las Vegas Raiders or the Saints or whoever and have conversations and get things lined up. That's beautiful. That means that some teams that don't have a quarterback and that aren't drafting 1 or 2 overall, they have a lot of opportunity to go after Aaron Rodgers. That also means that he's more likely to be signed as a starter than people realize, because he's the only quarterback that a lot of teams can go talk to. So if you're sitting there and you're the New Orleans Saints or you're the Raiders or you're the Giants and you're going, well, why don't we reach out to Aaron Rodgers right now? Because we can talk to him. It's not tampering on any level. We'll go talk to him because this might be our only shot at getting ahead of something. We might not be able to compete with Fields. We might not be able to compete with Darnold. We might be screwed. But we can go talk to Aaron Rodgers now. So Aaron Rodgers, this makes Aaron Rodgers almost guaranteed, if he doesn't walk away from the game, that is, and retire, which he could do, this almost guarantees him a starting job because he's got to jump in front of everybody, and teams are going to say, well, let's line up because we don't know what's in store. Same thing with Godwin being signed before a team goes after T. Higgins. T. Higgins won't become available for a trade maybe ever, if not till later, if things go awry in the contract extension talks. And so he'll be slapped with the franchise tag, and then you'll have a big, long period of time where T. Higgins and the Bengals are trying to work out a deal, and then if they can't get close, T. Higgins will request a trade, and then they might grant him permission to talk to teams, and then they still won't accept anything unless it's, good. But that's so far down the line after the NFL draft or right before the NFL draft. And so you're talking about Godwin being signed literally on day one of free agency. Teams got to jump ahead. Teams that want Aaron Rodgers got to look into him before, they can't sign him, but they can start talking to him and agree to stuff. And it's going to get interesting, man. This offseason will be very entertaining. Even though there's some less, big names to talk about and discuss. Trevor Lawrence, we'll get to that in a second. Even though there's a lot less names to discuss, it's still going to be entertaining, and there could be a lot of trades. Maybe there's more trades than ever because there's not a lot of big names available. We had Henry, Barkley, Jacobs available on free agency last year. We were spoiled with free agency, but we might be blessed with more trades because of that. This right here, there was some Trevor Lawrence rumors, and Michael from ESPN, the Rocco says that the Jaguars called any rumors of Trevor Lawrence trade ridiculous. So the Jaguars have spoken personnel from the Jaguars have said this is ridiculous. We're not trading Trevor Lawrence. And again, even then, it's like, trade him for what? Like, what are you going to do? Fields is the solution for any team that trades out of a quarterback. Let's say the Cardinals traded Kyler Murray. The question you would say is, well, what do they do? Justin Fields, Sam Darnold, Aaron Rodgers. That's what you can do. Russell Wilson would be a joke. That might be in consideration, but I would laugh at it. But that's what you can do. So there are solutions. So if the Jaguars did want to trade him, they would have to know that Aaron Rodgers was coming in, which might blow up in their face. They'd have to know they could go get Fields or, so all those things got to be in play. You can't just trade Trevor Lawrence without a plan that's fully in motion. Appreciate all of you dropping super chats. We got 7 with that $100 hauler, straight up monster. Contact 10% off. Use code Smitty for core board if you guys want to get a core board. This is code Smitty will get you 10% off, and this is an awesome board. It starts tomorrow. The challenge starts tomorrow. 60 days. Let's get ripped. I'm not like a totally out of shape person, but this right here, there's no definition. You can't see any line here. There's nothing. I kind of feel just like it's a big ball of mass. I'm bubble wrapping my abs at this point. I need to get in tremendous shape. I need to be able to do the dragon flag, which is this move right here. And, we've had we've had dozens of amazing comments. Like, this machine looks legit. It looks amazing. It's not a machine, but it looks like a absolute beast of a product, right? It just does. You got all these cables, you got a bar, you got a curl bar, you got a press bar, you've got curl grips. You can do these sit-ups. You hook your feet in there. You can do sit-ups all day long. We've had a couple people say things like, oh, what is that, yoga? This isn't yoga. This is a hardcore move here. This is abs, core board. It's all about your abs and your core. And you use code Smitty to get 10% off. And I'm going to pound out a couple sets every time I get a $20 hauler. And that means that 7, I need to smash at least like 20 right now for your $100 hauler, and then another 20 later. So dial into the phone line.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
And then I'll hit a set as soon as we get some phone callers on the line here. But a lot of good information today. A lot of good news. There's a lot to go over. That was a 44-minute news session. I mean, that's a pretty big amount of news to go over. The T. Higgins information, if anybody missed the earlier show, T. Higgins posted on his IG this little number, this little beauty right here. This is on his Instagram. And he says, priorities are rare. Options are everywhere. He might say something like, oh, I didn't mean it that way. You guys read into everything. But, you can't post something like that in your current situation and not have people take it the way they take it. I doubt that there's no true meaning behind that. But T. Higgins wants to be in Cincinnati. He's also trying to negotiate. So he might say things that he might not necessarily mean. He might get aggressive. He might get on the wrong side of the Cincinnati Bengal fan base. That happens. Look at Ayuk. Look at Debo. Look at all these guys that end up, having their fan base turn on them. Travis, you're live. What's up, pal?
Hey, how's it going? Not much. On the Rams and Stafford thing, I was thinking, when you mentioned that if Stafford goes, Rodgers could be a, reasonable piece to put in there. But at the same time, they're kind of flexible in terms of they could actually be willing to kind of take a step back for a year with a young quarterback while he gets going because, Aaron Donald's gone, Kupp's gone, Jalen Ramsey's gone. So now they have Puka, who's 23, Tyron, who's 24, Jared Verse is young. He's on their defense dominating. So they could very easily transition to a younger quarterback, even if it means, taking a step back for a year to get him in there and, with the system.
Yeah. I think there's that possibility. I think, and I admitted this a minute ago, we have a tendency to kind of think like you're one and done as a coach now. You find a guy like Kellen Moore who's done what he's done. Got other coaches, like Ryan Grubb was given no leeway, fired in 1 year. Like Ben Johnson should be given more than 1 year. So, you could pack it in.
Yeah.
You could pack it in. And just try and figure out a way to run it back the next year. And, Ryan Poles did that. He cut all the meat off the bone with Justin Fields, then tried to run it back, didn't work. Then they got rid of Justin Fields. I'm not saying it always works, and Ryan Poles is a horrible GM. But, maybe it can happen. Maybe if they build properly.
McVay is the benefit of the doubt, I'd say. He's been good, and they've been drafting well, since they've gotten their picks back. So
yeah. Stafford, why are we hearing? There's no way Stafford commands the 3rd overall. That's ridiculous, man. Maybe this report, like if there's any legs to it at all, it's a ridiculous report. There'd have to be like a swap. You know what I'm saying? Like if there was a pick swap, like a round 1 pick swap with somebody, I could see him being traded. Now the Giants, you can't pick swap with the Giants because they don't have a late pick. But I mean, like if somebody had a late pick, and most teams with a late pick, they did well and they have a quarterback. But you know what I'm saying? Like I could see something like that.
Sure.
Where you're trading, the number 3 down to like even 15 or something. 16, 17, 18, and then Stafford's involved. But there's no way someone's giving you 3 for Stafford. It is a ridiculous report.
I wonder if it's also just, they shoot for the moon and put that out there and end up getting next year's first-round pick plus a second or a third or something like that,
Yeah.
Like you talk about smoke season. Who knows who's really putting these things out there, too, at the end of the day.
But Stafford with the threat of retiring every year, the threat of a broken back, the threat of not being able to stay on the field, the threat of decline from his arm perspective. Like, there's a lot of red flags around Stafford. Is a team like the Giants who are trying to build for the future going to really bring in an older quarterback that's going to be gone or dropping off in a year? Like, and then you got to have Malik Neighbors get used to somebody else. Makes no sense at all that the Giants would be interested. In my opinion.
Me, that would be the GM and Joe Shine and Dave all trying to save the jobs type of thing. But.
Joe Shine. Yeah, you keep reminding yourself that, oh, wait, Joe Shine's there. They could think that Stafford's got 5-10 years left. That's Joe Shine for you. Get your shine box. I mean, God, he's such a bad GM. He is such a bad GM. My only hope for Malik Neighbors not having any sort of, like, roadblocks at all, because I think he's going to be amazing no matter what. He was, as we talked about last night and the night before or whatever, he's number 9 with no quarterback, with a rotation of garbage. So in his worst case scenario, he's probably earning you exactly where his ADP is right now at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. But, man, I predict they do get a QB. I predict it's Fields, Darnold, one of the 2 rookies. Maybe Aaron Rodgers, which I don't love, but It's better than nothing. It's better than Danny Dimes, to be honest. So,
yeah. Well, and that's the plus. Is probably going to be better no matter what than he had
no matter
last
what.
year.
Joe Milton. Still love Joe Milton.
Yeah, I hope the Patriots don't trade him, but they might.
Neighbors definitely going to Washington to reunite with JD5. Slayer, you're completely off your rocker, bro. I don't know what in the hell you're talking about, bro. The odds of Neighbors getting traded. First of all, that never, ever, ever happens, Slayer. He's walking into his second year. You don't trade him. He's dirt cheap. He's an elite wide receiver. Like, what are you talking about, bro? That's probably one of the worst comments we've seen the entire year. That's the wildest take. And wild, when I say wild, I mean the worst take I've ever seen.
Especially with in general, but especially with the draft.
Doesn't matter if it's after his rookie
the
contract.
number one pick.
Doesn't matter if it's after his rookie contract. They're not getting rid of him. Why would you get rid of a player like Malik Neighbors? They're not. He not only, look, think of JJ. You get to a certain level, Jamar Chase. No one's getting rid of a player like that. I don't care if their rookie contract extends. I did finish reading it. I don't need to finish reading it, Slayer. I don't care to read the gibberish that you keep throwing out. You're constantly throwing out gibberish. You're constantly trying to defy everything that is said on the show. So, no, I don't want to finish reading anything. Superfish, any news on...
never breaks free. It's so rare.
Future of Kirk Cousins. I think the report... of... Where was the last report he was going to play? That made a lot of... Cleveland. So, Superfish, I'd lean Cleveland. Because Cleveland, they either draft Cam or Shador, which is very likely, or he goes to Cleveland and they take like Travis Hunter or Ted McMillan or Ashton Genty, or they trade down a couple picks and take one of those guys, and then they bring in Kirk Cousins. The reason why you might do that is because you still expect to be very bad, and if you don't love this quarterback class, you might say, we love Genty, we love Ted McMillan, we love Travis Hunter, we love Banks, we love... name your favorite defensive player that might be available and a little bit of a small bump, trade down, or they don't even trade down. They take Banks or they take whoever. And then you bring in, Kirk Cousins to bridge for a year. You lose every game practically. And then you draft Arch Manning, and you've got that Ted McMillan already there, that Genty already there. Hard to know what the Browns' intentions will be. If it was me, I would look at having the number 2 pick as a blessing, and I'd say, you know what? This is our one way to get out of the Deshaun Watson situation as quickly as possible, which they need to do. And I think that if they bring Cam Ward in and he's the real deal, they bring in Shador Sanders and he's the real deal, no one's going to care about you cutting Deshaun Watson, at least not in Cleveland. Everybody be like, I don't care about it. Let him go. See you later, Deshaun. We got Cam Ward. It's the same thing that happened with Trey Lance. The Niners, if they did not have Brock Purdy, if Adam Peters, who was very much responsible for every good thing that's ever happened to the Niners in terms of draft picks, Kittle, Purdy, you name it. If Brock Purdy was not found by Adam Peters and that staff, there would be nothing but absolute people making fun of the Niners, screwing up Trey Lance, botching Trey Lance, maybe ruining Trey Lance. No one even mentions Trey Lance's name. No one even cares that the Niners spent 3 first-round picks on Trey Lance. No one even remembers it. It's gone. It's history. No one talks about it. No one can even make fun of it because they have a quarterback. So the best solution to getting out of the worst trade and contract in NFL history is to go land Cam Ward or Shador. Question is, do you believe that one of these guys will be a great player? I don't know. What else? Guys, dial into the phone line. Appreciate you, Superfish, dropping a super chat. Thank you very much. What else we got here? I don't think there's any. Let me see if there's any more news. Nothing. Trevor Lawrence trade ridiculous. Yeah, I don't think there's anything new brewing. I just wanted to refresh all the news. We got pretty much everything taken care of today. What else are you thinking in terms of today's stuff?
Yeah, just to reiterate on Aaron Rodgers, like, he's not cooked in my mind. I think he's still got a year left of, good football, even with the mess of a season it was. I think I was looking at, he finished 8th in the NFL in passing yards and 8th in touchdowns. So he's still a top 10 quarterback in terms of, like, numbers-wise, which I know can be misleading. But I think the biggest thing with him is he needs to be in, like, a stable situation where the circus around him isn't going to pull the team down, where there's, which is why Steelers make sense, a stable coach.
It's the most stable foundation.
A locker room that's stable, where everything isn't just going to go funnel to him and it's going to be a mess. A bunch of young guys, following his lead.
As much as we want to make fun of, and rightfully so, Tomlin failing in the playoffs and this team not being good in the playoffs and continuing to worry about them ever winning the playoff games, and it's a very stable foundation. And so yes, that would be as I said. Do I think Rodgers wins multiple playoff games in Pittsburgh? I'm not saying that. But if he wants to go to the playoffs guaranteed almost, and at least leave a legacy of, like, he made the playoffs, he didn't, like, go out as a non-playoff quarterback, this is absolute garbage. Like, Travis Kelce is going to leave very ashamed. And that's why I think he won't end up leaving. Even if Kelce announces his retirement tomorrow, and all these people come in and go, told you, Smitty, told you, I'm not going to even care. Like, what do you mean, told me nothing? You told me nothing. Because it doesn't matter. He could come back at any moment. And let's wait until August when he wants to, oh, God, all my buddies are suiting up. I'm bored as hell. Me and Taylor Swift got in a big fight because I'm around too much. There's something to that. They've been apart for a while. Sometimes couples that have, like, long-distance relationship, once it's no longer long-distance, they realize they don't have anything in common. And they end up breaking up. My prediction is they end up breaking up at some point. And Travis Kelce comes back to play football. I just don't know if he'll play good football, but that's my prediction. But in this real quick, BBQ $5 hauler, we need to give away a contest on the core board. So we are doing that. It's on my Instagram. So appreciate you doing this. The best way to support it is use code Smitty and have people go through that. That is the best way to support it, because that's the campaign we're doing right now. Code Smitty gets you 10% off. Go get a core board. But I'm also giving, core board is giving away one core board if I can do this move here for 45 seconds in conjunction with one other thing, which would be Nordic curls, where you put your feet under the hooks that they get, the little device they give you, and you lean forward all the way down to the floor and up. I have to do 5 Nordic curls, where I go down and kind of like touch my nose and come up using just my hamstrings. 5 of those, a 45-second hold here on a dragon flag, or 50, which is going to be the hardest one for me, 50 core squats, where you essentially do a sit-up and then stand up with your feet under the bar, sit down, lay down, sit up, stand up. That's going to be the one that I probably have the toughest time getting through. But so we already have a contest going, BBQ. So make sure you get on over to my Instagram. And the way you enter for that is you comment on my post. It's a core board post that talks about the contest. Comment, tag 3 people, follow core board on IG, and then I'll pick a winner if I'm able to do that. Core board's giving away, like, the setup, the total setup to somebody if I'm able to do 2 out of the 3. So the contest is you're rooting for me to be able to get in shape. That's the contest. So we're not giving away in another way because we're trying to promote that. But BBQ, your support always is freaking unbelievable. So appreciate you. You're always looking out for the channel and the community. This guy's a monster. And for a lot of you out there that see the new emojis, this all got triggered by Outlaw, New Age Outlaws, and BBQ, who were going through a massive war back and forth, dropping gifted memberships last night. And the reason we changed over all the emojis is because we opened up a few slots and we swapped out all of the emojis. We have one or two more that we can swap out. We got the Get Bucky. We got Genty. We've got drop them. Everybody drop all the new ones. JSN, drop all the new emojis. So BBQ, hats off to you. Appreciate you and your support. John, you're live. Then I'm going to go over to Gump after that. John, you're live. Go ahead.
Hey, Smitty, I wanted to ask you, when's the best time to send out trades in the off-season for Dynasty? So there's that question. And the other question is this going to be the last off-season you can purchase Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. If they go off?
The answer to your first question is there's never, it depends on your league. Some people don't trade at all. Some people aren't active in the offseason. Some people are very active in the offseason. Some people are vulnerable coming off a loss and they just want to change their team and they're not in a good headspace and you can take advantage of them. To be honest with you, every owner is going to be different. So just offer trades all year long because you're going to attack the people that are kind of confused right now. They lost. They want to change things up. They're mad and they make mistakes. And there's other people that they go dormant for like 2-3 months and come back. So there's no answer to that question. Number two, Malik Neighbors, yes, the last time you're going to be able to buy him. BT, I don't know that there's a buying time for him right now. He's pretty highly ranked. He's going 6-7 overall. I don't anticipate BT going 4 overall, 3 overall in future years. I think he's at his ceiling right now of where you're going to take him. Like 6, 7, 8 is pretty damn high. And so that's you're mixing in a couple RBs, and you're talking about taking him as a top 5 wide receiver if he's going at 6 or 7 or 8. So I don't know. You could explore case by case. Maybe your league views him as a 14 overall player. Then yeah, that league, this is your last opportunity to buy BT. But if he's getting valued appropriately, he's not somebody you can buy right now. BT's not viable. But Neighbors is, because he's going 11, 12, 13 overall, and people are so worried about the quarterback situation over in New York because they have no quarterback. As soon as that gets resolved, he's going to go up about 1 or 2 spots in ADP minimum. And the people that own him, even if he doesn't go up 1 or 2 spots, the mere fact that he has a quarterback is going to make anybody that's been holding him not trade him. I venture to say Neighbors will be the most unlikely player to acquire via trade the moment his quarterback situation appears to be on the mend. Then you're done. You won't be able to get Neighbors for anything because that's momentum. Momentum for a player everybody loves anyway. People are just a little worried about him. In Dynasty, he's probably not that easy to acquire anyway. Even if someone owns him, they're probably going to love him. But you could try. It's your best opportunity right now. But yeah, I don't know that I would say this buying season. It's drafting season on Neighbors. For whatever reason, Neighbors in redraft is 11, 10, 11 overall. In Dynasty startups, I bet you he's still top 5.
Appreciate it, Smitty. Have a great night, man.
All right, later, bro. Gump, you're live, Gumpy. Gump is back.
Can you hear me there, Smitty?
Gump, we always can hear you. You don't need to check with me on that. We just waste like 5 minutes of you and me going back and forth on whether we can hear you, how you doing. We got all that.
I need your help.
Okay.
To rock the NFL world. I need you really to focus here. Should Brad Holmes be given the green light to really shake it up? Really, really shake it up and bring the Lions home to a Super Bowl. What can he do to shake this up really big time and get us over the hump into the Super Bowl, maybe a winner?
Not change anything? What are you going to do?
Oh, come on now.
What are you going to do, Gump? You've got Amon-Ra St. Brown. You got Jamison Williams. You got Laporta. You got Gibbs and Monty. You got one of the better offensive lines in the league. Your defense is very solid. You just lost your offensive coordinator, but you brought within to try and you're rising up a guy within to take care of it so that it can be as much of the same as you can get. There's not much you can do, Gump. What are you going to trade? Maybe you trade future. How about this, Gump? Trade future draft capital, mortgage your entire mother freaking future to upgrade Goff. You want me to you're forcing me to mix things up. Go get rid of Goff. Goff's average. He's an average quarterback at best. He's an average quarterback at best that's playing above his pay grade because he's surrounded by an enormous amount of talent. That's what he is. It's the honest truth.
Get Garrett, Myles Garrett, get Max Crosby, and then
just
get
them all.
Khalil Mack. That's shaking it up.
Yeah, go get them all.
Shaking it up.
Go get them all, Gump.
Get
okay,
them all three of them.
you want one move? Okay, go get Parsons. Go get one. You're only gonna get one, Gump. Go get one of Parsons, Crosby.
The monsters of the midway.
Yeah, go get one of those guys. I agree with that. I agree with that.
We need to stomp people down.
All right, Gump, appreciate it.
And stomp.
Stop. Do it live. All right, Gump. Call back if you got another one. So yeah, if you could get rid of like your mortgage your future to go get Max Crosby, sure, that's a good move. But that's mixing it up. I'm not saying you have to do that, but maybe Gump's onto something. maybe you get awful crazy. But I think honestly, Goff is the problem. Fields as a secondary option. While I want to say, Cody, that would make a lot of sense, and my mind does also go there. Fields can get a starting job. He's not going to back up Jared Goff. So you can't, I mean, it's a fairy tale idea, but it is, if, you know what? Trade for a backup quarterback. That would be I would safeguard. I wouldn't necessarily need to, I would go get Crosby if I could and Parsons, whatever, but sure. But I would want to make sure that if Goff goes down, maybe we have a better option than Goff. Go trade for Joe Milton. Bring in somebody, like that. Trade for somebody that doesn't have control. Like, trading for Fields if he was under contract would be a perfect way, but he's a free agent, so you're not going to be able to get him. All right, go ahead, Travis. I'm sorry.
No, I was just agreeing with you that in terms of, like, aside from, like Gump said, adding to the defense with studs, like, to me, if you want to make one huge move, it's Goff, but that's awfully hard to do. Like, who are you going to get that will truly upgrade from him?
Yeah.
That's available,
Yeah, I don't know that.
I mean, like, I don't know, maybe, and they wouldn't do it because they already got rid of him, but, like, if you had Stafford for 1 year, perfectly healthy, everything worked out, maybe.
Okay, I got an idea. I got an idea. If it was like, Gump's onto something. I shouldn't have wrote off his idea that quickly because I do like thinking about stuff like this. So Gump, hats off to you. It's a good topic. If I'm the Detroit Lions and you said you need to do something weird, you know what I'd do? I would trade for AR5 because that's exactly what I'm saying. You go get somebody that can't control whether you're getting them or not. Fields is a starter and he's not going to go be a backup. AR5 has no choice. So you go trade for AR5, you mortgage a little draft capital for the future, you sit him right behind Goff, who's, I don't think, the long-term answer anyway. And you maybe have something in AR5. You develop him. He's got tremendous weapons. The same thing that we were saying about Goff, he's an average quarterback that looks good because he's surrounded with weapons. What would AR5 look like with Gibbs and Monty and Amon-Ra and Jamison Williams and Laporta? Maybe AR5 would look fantastic. So in the fact that the Colts are very willing to get rid of him, I think, and they don't necessarily need a quarterback back, you keep Goff, you trade for AR5, you give the Colts the opportunity to go get Darnold, go get Fields, go get a rookie, fold this year, rebuild, retool. I don't know. You could send Hendon Hooker over to the Indianapolis Colts too. I mean, I like Hendon Hooker a little bit, but like, look, he's kind of simmered long enough. I don't know that I'm jumping on board, but I would go get AR5. I think that would be, if you're asking me to do something crazy, that is the best safeguard move for a team that's already got everything it needs. So anyway, good question though, Gump, actually. Hey, Smitty, is it possible AR5 gets traded? How much value does he currently have? I'm being 100% honest. I hadn't even read this question yet. I swear. That's so funny that his question is relating to AR5. I swear to you, I did not even read the question yet. I was about to, and then I let Travis talk. Ironic. How ironic. I think the possibility is high. Not extremely high, but it's high enough. Get Baker. Baker ain't going anywhere, Matto. He's freshly entrenched in that Tampa Bay situation. I think I don't know. I think it's maybe, if I had to put a percentage on it, like 10 to 20%, but that's like a high number for a quarterback to get traded. especially when there's no buzz around it really at all. We're just trying to, like, guess that it's going to happen, just like we're kind of guessing that Aaron Rodgers would go to Pittsburgh. There was nothing on it when we said it, and now it's the leading, potential prop in Vegas. But I think it's, high enough. I think that the fact that they benched him shows that they're willing to listen to a phone call. You know what I mean? Hear somebody out at least. And if somebody offers an offer they can't refuse and they've benched him, they've gotten, they put him back in, but they benched him. They're probably not, they don't trust him to stay healthy. I think he'd be great in Detroit. I think the AR5 in Detroit would be phenomenal. I'm not saying he replaces Goff. I'm saying it's a future move. And it's also a safeguard move, because if the Lions lose Goff, they're done. If you have AR5, that's why even though the Falcons didn't exactly deliver upon the concept that that I preached about it, the fact that they had Penix Jr., they just didn't execute quickly enough on Penix Jr. It was a smart move. If even though people made fun of it, I mean, the amount of money they paid Cousins was ridiculous, but in theory, having Cousins and Penix Jr., it was very safeguarded and smart, because no matter what, the team had the potential. They just waited too long. It was a bad coaching decision. But I think if you had Goff and AR5, you really are one of the most exciting, secure teams in the National Football League. I know it's a pipe dream, but damn, if it was me, that's what I would do. That's what I would do. Travis Hunter, where do you think he ends up landing, Travis? And let me put the NFL draft away.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. You were talking about him earlier, and I mean, obviously this is an obvious thing to say. Everything hinges on Tennessee and Cleveland if they take the QB or not. Because if not, I could definitely see Cleveland taking. I think Cleveland will end up, if they don't take a QB, they're going to take Travis Hunter, or if they really do trade Myles Garrett, I could see if they get Bill Parker to try to kind of somehow replace him a little bit. Aside from that, I could see him go any of those top 5 or 6 spots. I guess it depends on what they see him as. Because, I like him as a wide receiver, kind of like you. I want him to play wide receiver, but if he's just a D-back, that could change the team's plans, too. I don't know, would the Patriots take him? I mean, they don't. I mean, it'd be great to stick him next to Christian Gonzalez, but it's not a huge need, and they have so many other needs, So yeah, he could fall down the board a couple spots if people don't want to do.
So here's the draft order right here. Titans are oftentimes linked to him, but this could be posturing to try and say, oh, okay, we could go quarterback. We might go Travis Hunter. Our pick is valuable. You don't know where we're going. They're trying to cater to all interested parties that want these players. We're open for business. Tennessee probably more likely to trade out of the pick than, well, I don't know. Maybe Cleveland. Look, Tennessee and Cleveland could both trade out of the pick, or they could both keep it and both draft quarterbacks. Right. It's kind of wild.
That's what I'm saying. That could change so much. They were both traded out.
My boy Red coming in with a super chat, absolute monster. Red said, guys, I appreciate the super chats in the offseason. Things get a little bit slower for a while in terms of right now we still have 100 YouTube people, 100 Twitter people. We're well over 200 people in the live stream total right now, so not bad for a slow part, but it ramps up again. And your support, Red, and everybody and BBQ and everybody dropping super chats, Superfish, it's much appreciated during this time of the year. Showing appreciation for my boy. You're my boy, Blue. Thank you, Red. Appreciate your $10 hauler. $10 haulers get Mars shots.
To Mars.
My boy. What were we saying, Travis?
I was just gonna say if Travis Hunter falls out of the top 4, I think the Jags would be snapping up pretty quick. Or anyone below that top 4, I think if he falls out of it, someone within the next 1 or 2 picks will take him. I don't think he's falling any further than I think the Jags will take him.
It's interesting. It's interesting because I see a lot of mock drafts, and some of them are total garbage. I'm not saying that they're good, but a lot of mock drafts are starting to have non-QBs get taken in some of these spots versus what we've seen in the past, where a team in Tennessee's position or Cleveland is going to trade down so that these teams take quarterbacks. These are usually quarterback slots. 1 and 2 in this day and age is a quarterback slot. And if you're not going to take a quarterback, you're very smart to trade down and still get your same guy and get draft capital. But I'm seeing a lot of mock drafts that aren't anticipating these trades. And if these not defensive player, maybe Travis Hunter going to Tennessee, defensive player Travis Hunter or Ted McMillan or whatever. And I'm seeing the Giants get mocked to get a Cam Ward here. You know, I see this in a lot of mocks, not saying I agree with it. And then the Raiders getting Shedeur. And I think that if this happens without trades, this will be wildly advantageous and lucky for both the Giants and the Raiders. There are no teams that need quarterbacks more. And I say that with consideration that Tennessee and Cleveland both need quarterbacks. There are no two teams that need quarterbacks more than the Giants and the Raiders. Why? Because they can win now. The Browns could also win. They're probably third in line. They still got a very good team, but there may be a step away. I'm not saying the Giants are that much better. One could even argue that the Cleveland Browns could win more games than the Giants, whether Cam went to either one. But I think that this is a team that, with Neighbors, with Tracy, with the ability to still build it up, Dable's ability to turn this thing around quickly, even with Joe Shine trying to hold it down and get this whole ship to sink, it's still a better spot. And on top of it, from a fantasy football perspective, we want Neighbors to have the quarterback. So, but the Raiders and Giants, if they somehow still get QBs from these exact spots, it'll be wild, and it'll be very lucky. Genty, we're worried as hell about Genty going, I think, here to the Niners or here. I don't want Genty going to the I don't want Genty going to either one of these teams, but specifically Chicago and San Francisco. I do not want that. I would love for Genty to go to the best location known to man on this board, which would be the Dallas Cowboys. I think Miami scares the hell out of me if he was available, because Mike McDaniel, if for some reason Genty fell. Like, let's say Dallas is not passing on him, but let's say Dallas traded out of the pick before the draft and then Genty fell to 12 and we're like, you idiots. Miami, if he falls to Miami, that would be just, oh God, Achane. I don't want it. There's some thought to like Mostert and Achane balled out together, and there's a world where we still love Achane at his newfound value if that was to happen, because Achane would drop from 8 overall to the 3rd or 4th round. So then we would have to look at Achane's new value, and maybe we like it. Maybe they are a Mostert, but I think they would definitely not pass on Genty at 13. So let's hope that he goes to Dallas at 12. I want him to bypass Chicago and San Francisco. And if Genty goes sooner, God, it probably have to be.
Could New Orleans take him, like just best player on the board type of thing?
They could. It's not out of the question. Jaguars taking him is not out of the question. I don't think New England does, because I think they got too many other holes, and they just re-signed Stevenson. Not that Genty's not. Yeah, Genty's miles and miles ahead of Stevenson, but they still are going to think like that. Cleveland's too early for Genty. They could trade down for him. The Raiders, if they solve their quarterback situation via Aaron Rodgers or Fields or Darnold, then we know that Genty is a on the fast track to go to the Raiders at 6. So how the quarterback free agency plays out will determine where Genty's more likely to go. But Genty and freaking Vegas would be unbelievable if they have their quarterback situation locked down by then, and they're not needing to draft Sanders or Cam. So if they had Fields and Genty would be awesome. I think Carolina's not going to touch RB. Hubbard's too good right now. Jets aren't going to probably do anything. You never know. You never know with Aaron Glenn, and Brees wasn't his guy. I'm not saying he moves Brees aside, but he might say, you know what, I come from Detroit where we have Monty and we have Gibbs. You never know, but I don't think he's going to go ground and pound. So like you really truly don't know. Aaron Glenn could throw everybody for a loop. This is definitely one of those situations where, like, when Gibbs went to Detroit, everybody like crapped a brick because it was like, they got Swift still, and they traded him right away. They got Monty and Swift. What a disaster. It wasn't a disaster. It was amazing, and in retrospect, nobody remembers how crazy it was when it happened. Jets could be similar to that, but probably not. They're probably going to go, I don't know, Banks would be amazing there. There's a lot of good, offensive line, defensive players, whatever. Carolina, again, they're not going to take them. New Orleans, probably too many other things they got to take care of, and they got Kamara, but Chicago, they would take Genty, unfortunately. That's what scares the hell out of me. It's not the worst spot in the world, but it's not the best spot by any means, because they're a joke of an organization. And I don't want him going there. The Falcons, oh hell no, bro. I would probably end the live stream. I would end the live stream. Dallas is my I think all of us want him going to Dallas or Vegas in that order. Or Cleveland if Cleveland moved down. If you're thinking logically.
Yeah. I don't see him lasting past 12. If in some weird world he did, or if a team traded up, I could see Denver or Pittsburgh liking him too, or LA. All three of them.
Ted McMillan.
But again, it would take them falling.
I think the New England Patriots will have either Ted McMillan or Hunter.
I hope so. I keep hearing about them trading back, and I mean they might be able to trade back and get McMillan, depending on what other teams are doing. But
I wouldn't trade back. I just take him, man.
I wouldn't either. To me, the way I look at it with all draft picks, if you like the guy and you truly think he's a stud, just take him. 9 out of 10 times. Don't mess around and lose.
Yeah, we'll go right here. I'm going to go. Jets are going to take Banks. He's probably the best offensive line piece you could grab. Tet McMillan or Hunter. So I'll go Tet. I'll pick one. So I'll go Tet here. Tennessee. Does Tennessee go quarterback? Do you think they believe that Levis still has a shot? They can't, but do they?
I still think they're going to take Ward number one. Like that's what my gut tells me. But you hear tons of smoke about, well, they're not sure, and like you said, they won't pass on a, generational or elite guy or whatever. But I think unless they go Abdul Carter or something like that, they're going Ward. I don't think they're going to trade.
Let me. I'm gonna pull up something real quickly. Let's see here. NFL.com mock draft has Cam Ward going 1, Abdul Carter going 2. In the Abdul Carter, Carter going 2 makes sense just because they have such a quarterback problem that there's pros and cons to this. If Cam Ward's there, I think they take Cam Ward. Shador there's mixed reviews on him from a lot of teams. A lot of reporters were like, oh, he's barely got a first round grade. That's BS. But there are enough teams that doubt him that he could get skipped a couple picks, whereas Cam wouldn't. So I think that, let's say we put Cam at this 1 pick. I think Carter has a real strong shot at going here. So the Giants get Sanders. And Sanders makes sense to the Giants because he's been throwing with neighbors. They've thrown together. They like each other. Everybody's saying that Deion Sanders won't let Shador go to the Giants. It's not true. He's already shot that down. Deion himself shot that down. So New England getting, I think, Hunter, which I don't know if you're hearing anything on that, but this Hunter or Tet McMillan. Jacksonville.
There's so much smoke around New England. It's ridiculous. Each person will tell you something different.
Hunter could go there, or if New England's like, okay, we like him, but we don't want him playing DB. We respect his decision to play both sides of the ball. We need a true wide receiver for May to develop. There's a chance they go Tet. Let's see here. Hunter. Probably, I'm going to say Hunter for now. Jacksonville, there's some talk about them taking a wide receiver. If Tet was there, could they take him? Maybe. Would that hurt BT's value? It could a little bit. I think BT's the number one there, but you certainly have to divide up some workload. This would be a disaster for the Raiders at this point, not being able to get that quarterback.
Yeah.
Maybe the Raiders, if they're in this position, they take Genty here. I don't know.
I was going to say, yeah, that could be where they could do that. There's also, guys, like you said, the linemen, which we'll have to see on the combine, because there's talk that Banks and Campbell may look better as guards, so it's going to depend on what teams see him as, And then, guys like Mason Graham, I forget there's a cornerback that's probably going to go in the top 10 or so. And so those guys will mix in depending on what teams like.
Let's see here. Yeah, it could be, let's see, Hunter. Could Hunter go?
I don't think Hunter drops. Like, if he's there for the Raiders, I think the Raiders would take him. Like, I don't think he drops past 6, 7 at the most if something goes crazy. With the Jets turn down taking him,
Yeah, this is tough. I could definitely see. New England going Campbell.
Which they better be sure to tackle if they do, because I don't want them drafting guards at the top 5. I mean, come on.
I could see them going Campbell. Banks is the best.
A lot of mocks have them taking Campbell.
Banks is the best O-line guy in the draft.
Yeah, he's probably got the highest upside out of him too. He's got the best shot. I think Campbell might be like a little more NFL ready, as they would say. Banks might be a little more raw, but sweating the hairs.
A lot of mocks have Ted McMillan going to the Jaguars. That's at 5. It's wild. I'm not saying I don't think it's a possibility, but
no, it could. I just don't like it.
Yeah, Ted. I mean, if Ted goes to Jaguars at 5, that's wild. I don't know what we're gonna do. That's high draft capital, given you got BT. But I'm not against it, really. I mean, my mind would work like that, but I don't know if the Jaguars are gonna think like that. But that's gonna be wild. Yeah, it's gonna be so crazy to see where Sanders and Cam Ward go. If the Raiders don't get either quarterback, I think they should take Genty. I don't know if they will. And if they don't, I mean, Ted McMillan or Hunter would be great as well. I know I'm thinking so offensive minded, but I mean, you need that piece, I think, for these offenses to move. But they'll be so lucky if the Raiders sit where they are and they don't get aggressive and they land Cam or Sanders. I'll be shocked. I am starting to feel like the Giants will get one of the quarterbacks, though. I'm starting to feel like that a little bit more. But Tennessee and Cleveland would be stupid not to take a quarterback. But I am starting to feel like one of them won't.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be either one of them would be great with Dabo. So let him work with them, and then obviously to have a guy like Neighbors to throw to is just awesome.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to be back tonight. Anything else, Travis?
Yep. No, I'm going to jump too. I'll talk to you later.
All right, man. Appreciate you, bro. Spy celebrating 6-month membership. Appreciate you, bro. Dropping that. I'll see you all later tonight. Good little show. Good little hour and a half session. Appreciate you all. Don't forget to subscribe to the Dynasty channel. We'll be doing a Dynasty video tonight. That link is in the description of the video. I did fix the link. The link wasn't working for a while, but the link's in the description of the video. youtube.com/@DynastyFantasyFootball or youtube.com/DynastyFantasyFootball. You can use the @ or not use the @. It works both ways. Here's the link if you're lazy and you want to just click the link. But we will be live tonight on the Dynasty channel. you're watching the main channel. We're live Monday through Friday. Hit that like button on the way out the door. We've got 70 thumbs up, but we definitely could use more thumbs up, so smash the hell out of...
Hit that subscribe button if you're new, and wipe your feet at the door.
Do it live. Appreciate it.
Got him.
Thank you, Toner. Appreciate you. Anybody's gonna subscribe to the Dynasty channel for the first time, let me know and I'll shout you out. Appreciate you. And if I end the show right now and you do it, remind me next time, I'll shout you out. Thank you for following the Dynasty channel and subscribing. We'll be live on the Dynasty channel tonight. Thank you, Philip. Hit that like button like Philip says.